Okay, so we added more to this TLSO cast. You can see that the posterior part is a lot closer to the height of the anterior portion of this cast. Anterior, posterior right here. So what I'm going to do is, we talked just a minute ago about those porous parts where I have to make sure the plaster doesn't come out of there. So what I'm going to do is just use this really quick, show you how it's done. We're going to prepare this cast. We're going to show you the next step in that process. Okay, so we're just getting started here. I'm just going to wrap this up. That's all we're doing. So TLSOs, the custom ones, aren't necessarily just off the shelf and just so easy to make. We're going to just show you the whole process, kind of get in here real good, and if I'm lucky, I'll stay clean in the process. These plaster loves to reach out and grab you.
Next, we will begin to fill the cast. Not all companies do it this way, but when possible, we recycle plaster. The picture to the left shows how we will fill the TLSO cast with plaster from other impressions, such as old AFO casts. The picture to the right shows a top-down view of how we added our water pipe, and the TLSO is nearly filled with recycled plaster. After this portion, we would add liquid plaster into the picture on the right, and it would begin to bring the whole TLSO cast into one piece, as we will show you later in the video.
This is just part of the process of starting to fill this TLSO. Now, not everybody does it like this. Some people will just fill it all with liquid plaster and let it set up, and that's fine. But the way we like to do things is reuse whatever we have. So just for an example, over here we have a whole bunch more plaster that we'll incorporate whenever we can into a TLSO mold. We're continuing on down the road of the fabrication process, filling the negative cast, which is this piece right here, all around, and then we're making it a positive mold by adding in these plaster chunks, and then ultimately we'll put in a very thin layer of liquid plaster, and it will all harden into one piece. You'll almost be shocked at how it happens like that. It's pretty cool, actually. Okay, so here we have a TLSO mold. We've poured it, we stripped the cast, and we're modifying it. We've added some plaster here to smooth out any imperfections, and we're trying to get the mold ready to become a brace. And one of the ways we do that is by adding plaster where needed. Okay, in a custom brace you give to someone, it can't have waves in it, ripples, etc., imperfections, as much as we can control. So one of the things an orthotist will do is add plaster here. We'll do some of that, and we'll show you the modification process for them. We also try to delineate the iliac crest right here, because this is where the padded waist groove will go for that TLSO. And then the last thing we're going to do is actually smooth out the cast, and we'll just show you here how we do that. So here we have our mold. We have a little bit of plaster and water. The reaction is already starting. I'm actually going to add some blue dye chalk to this, and that way we'll know exactly what we added and what we didn't add. It's part of the art/science to this. A lot of times an orthotist will add on plaster, for example, bony landmarks. Okay. Add a little bit more water here. We add plaster there because we don't want it rubbing on the patient later on. So this reaction's going right now. What'll happen is right now it looks like a liquid, and it will turn into a solid later. So we'll get just this stirred up here a little bit. We're correcting this cast. Okay, so we added some plaster here. Also, we got to think about the anterior superior iliac spine, the xiphoid, the sternal notch, the symphysis pubis, any bony landmark. We want to try to avoid, pressing on that with the brace. The brace is made of this hard plastic, and we don't want it rubbing. So we're just going to add our buildups there. So we'll add one. For example, here at the anterior superior iliac spine. Okay, you can add as much or as little as you want, but you want that brace to fit later, so these are the things you try to think about ahead of time. The same thing over here at the opposite side. As an orthotist comes around and he or she is trying to prepare the cast, we'll use this tool right here, try to get rid of unwanted bumps, and we kind of sand it away. We can do the same right here. We shape it. Okay, for example, we can shape it like that. If you don't like the amount of something that you added, you have the choice to take it away, smooth it out. Like this. Okay, and one of the last steps is, that's better, but it's definitely not perfect yet. So what an orthotist can do is now they wet their sandpaper, and you'll go over the whole TLSO mold like this, or the LSO mold, or whatever you're working on, and you just start to really smooth it out. You're thinking about the patient the whole time. You want to make sure that it's smooth. Okay, this is the last stage right here prior to us taking it to the oven, and so the oven is where we heat our plastic, and we do a pull of a plastic over this, and we use a vacuum to vacuum form it, and it'll suck right onto this mold and take the real true shape of it. So just to point out, this is the last steps that we're going to take prior to our vacuum forming process. Okay, now this mold is ready to go. It'll dry up, and then we'll take it to get vacuum formed in our next part of this video.